Back in November 2021, all hell broke loose when about 300 people ended up injured, 25 were rushed to hospitals, and a body count of 10 remained at the end of one horrific incident that started as a fun concert. It was supposed to be a night to remember, one full of loud music, dancing, and positive energy. And it was a night to remember, just not for the same reasons. A dark shadow remains over the Astroworld Festival, which begs the question, what exactly happened? How did such a common activity become a grave for 10 people and a trigger for many others? Who were the victims? And, in the time after, who was held responsible for this tragedy? Any average concertgoer could easily explain the appeal behind events like Astroworld. Sometimes being surrounded by people who love the same music as you, singing the same songs as you, feels a lot better than listening to it alone in your bedroom. The change of scenery, high energy, and opportunity to make new friends is also a very appealing prospect. Concerts and music festivals have always been nice places to let loose and enjoy, and Astroworld, at least in the beginning, was no different. Launched in November 2018, Astroworld Festival is an annual music festival held in Houston, Texas. The festival is the brainchild of American singer, songwriter, rapper, and record producer Jock Berman Webster II, or, as he's more popularly known, Travis Scott. It was a festival named after an album of the same name that was released that same year. The album was named after the defunct theme park Six Flags Astroworld, which was located in Houston, Texas before its closure. The theme of the album was to sound like, in Scott's words, taking an amusement park away from kids. Being a Houston native, the album was a callback to his childhood, and the festival followed those same motivations. It was held at NRG Park, near the former site of the actual Six Flags Astroworld, and was held to bring back the beloved spirit and nostalgia of Astroworld, which was a childhood dream of Travis's. Musical performances for the first festival mostly consisted of hip-hop and rap artists, such as Post Malone, Metro Boomin, and Young Thug, all big names in the industry, as well as Travis Scott himself. But by 2019, the lineup expanded to include different genres, and the crowd, of course, grew bigger. There was a reported increase of about 50,000 people from the 2018 festival, and, while the 2020 edition of Astroworld would be cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it only meant that the crowd would be bigger and even more eager to join in the fun by the time the festival happened again. By the time 2021 came around, every Travis Scott and Astroworld Festival fan got their wish. The festival would return even better than before. Instead of the usual one day, it would run through 2 days and would include even more celebrities. SZA, 21 Savage, Don Toliver, and Roddy Ricch were all set to perform, and of course, Travis Scott would be there to perform for the thousands of screaming fans that would surely be present. Ticket sales started on the 5th of May 2021, and only 30 minutes after the tickets went on sale, they sold out, even though they were even more expensive than the previous years. From the sale of 50,000 tickets in 2019, the amount doubled to 100,000 for the 2021 edition, and the 2 festival days weren't all there was to look forward to. The 2-night festival will be held on November 5th and 6th, 2021, but before that, a series of events known as Astro Week took place. There were celebrity golf and softball events held to support Travis Scott's Cactus Jack Foundation, an organization he founded to raise money to provide educational opportunities and scholarships for youth, pop-up stores, and the unveiling of the first Cactus Jack Garden, a community garden initiative at the Young Elementary School. Astro Week was supposed to end 2 days after the festival on November 8th, with a drive-in screening at the Moonstruck Drive-In Cinema of the film Red Rocket, a comedy drama starring Simon Rex. Travis Scott was going to be present at this screening along with the movie's writer and director, Sean Baker, and its cast. However, this would never come to be, as, on the night of the 4th day of Astro Week, a grave tragedy occurred. On the 5th of November 2021, the first day of the Astroworld Festival began. As expected, attendees quickly filled the festival grounds and everything was going as scheduled. Metro Boomin, Master P, Yves Tumor, Toro y Moi, Don Toliver, Roddy Ricch, Lil Baby, SZA, and Travis Scott were all on the lineup for that day. Later on, Drake performed alongside Travis in an unannounced performance, but that was later on. A tragedy was brewing, and it all started around 2 p.m. At 2 in the afternoon, some of the festival goers rushed to one of the entrances to the festival grounds. To get in, they knocked down security barricades and trampled other concert goers. After this incident, Houston Police Chief Troy Finner warned Scott and his team of potential danger in a private meeting before the night's performance. But surely, that was only a few rowdy fans. Why punish the scores of people that had paid to come to Astroworld by canceling the event? The show must go on. If only something was done about the massive crowd earlier, perhaps lives would not have been lost. However, that night's performance would have some of the most horrific incidents to occur at a concert captured on video. At around 9:15 p.m., a crowd of about 50,000 people began pushing toward the stage at NRG Park as a timer clicked down to start the performance. Pushing and shoving aren't new occurrences at Travis Scott concerts. His performances are well known for their high energy and adoption of the punk and metal culture of moshing and raving. In fact, he often encourages fans to forget about security and rush the stage. However, this time it was different, and as the timer ticked away on the stage, the chaos started to ignite in the crowd. While Travis Scott was up on stage, people were passing out in the crowd. The lack of breathing space and wiggle room turned what was supposed to be a fun concert into hell. By 9:38 p.m., the site was declared a mass casualty event, but Travis kept performing. Some people who did manage to make it to the stage shouted, "There is someone dead," and stopped the show. Even though there were ambulances in the crowd, something he noticed from his spot on stage, he didn't stop performing. He did requests for security to check up on some individuals, but somehow he didn't recognize the extent of the tragedy and kept performing until about 10:10 or 10:15 p.m. At this point, he began to request for the lights to be turned on while people in the audience screamed for help. In the end, over 300 people were treated for injuries at the festival grounds. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation was performed by show paramedics on those injured. 25 people ended up being rushed to the hospital, but the most harrowing discovery of the entire event was that it didn't end without casualty. 8 innocent people lost their lives on the festival grounds that day, and 2 others died later on in the hospital due to the injuries they sustained at the crowd crush. In the incident, the following lost their lives. 27-year-old Danish Bag, whose brother said he was trying to save a sister-in-law from being trampled. 23-year-old Rudy Pena and 23-year-old Madison Dubisky. Madison worked at a Houston-based advertising agency. 22-year-old Barty Shahani, 21-year-old Franco Patino, who was a senior at the University of Dayton in Ohio, and 21-year-old Alex Acosta, who was a junior at Western Washington University in Bellingham. 20-year-old Jacob B. Juranick was a junior at Southern Illinois University Carbondale at the time of the incident. 16-year-old Brianna Rodriguez, a student at Heights High School in Houston. 14-year-old John Hilgert, a freshman at Memorial High School near Houston. And 9-year-old Ezra Blount. As you can see, 3 of these victims were minors, and 1 was merely a child. Barty Shahani was injured during the tragedy after becoming separated from her sister and cousin as the Astroworld Festival turned chaotic. She was declared brain dead on November 9th before dying the next day, while Ezra Blount was placed in a medically induced coma after being crushed and trampled at the concert. He had attended the festival with his father and died on November 14th. The Harris County Medical Examiner's Office found that all 10 deaths were due to compression asphyxia. The question remains, who was held responsible for all this? Naturally, many fingers point to Travis Scott, the reason being he should have stopped the show and offered help to his audience when they were literally screaming for assistance. However, although over 177 lawsuits have been filed since the incident, nothing really has come of it. Scott and the event organizers are the focus of a criminal investigation by Houston police, but, as of now, no one has been charged. No timetable has been set for when the investigation would be completed, and, for many, the tragedy has begun to fade into obscurity. One night resulted in the deaths of 10 innocent people. One music festival turned into a graveyard. This incident goes on to stress the importance of attendance quotas and crowd control. Travis Scott claimed that he couldn't hear all the cries for help up on stage, and, while it's hard to confirm whether that is true or false, we can say that he and his team clearly weren't prepared for every possible scenario. An operations plan for the festival detailed protocols for active shooters, bomb or terrorist threats, and severe weather, but nowhere on their list did they include a crowd surge.